The daytime television community was recently sent into an absolute frenzy of excitement and speculation when Jacqueline MacInnes Wood, the phenomenal actress who brings the fierce and formidable Steffy Forrester Finnegan to life, took to her personal social media page to announce her sixth real-life pregnancy. For years, viewers of The Bold and the Beautiful have watched the production team employ a myriad of clever and sometimes comical television tricks to hide her growing baby bumps. From oversized designer handbags and strategically placed Forrester Creations file folders to loose-fitting coats and sudden, prolonged business trips to the international desk in Paris, the writers have historically chosen to conceal the actress's pregnancies. However, the current narrative landscape in Los Angeles is shifting in a cataclysmic way. The brilliant minds in the writing room have decided to abandon the oversized purses. Instead, they are weaving this beautiful real-life blessing directly into the fabric of the show, crafting a storyline so explosive, so emotionally devastating, and so incredibly scandalous that it threatens to tear the Forrester, Finnegan, and Walton families apart forever. To truly understand the magnitude of this impending pregnancy storyline, we must first dissect the catastrophic chain of events that recently unfolded on the sun-drenched shores of Monaco. Steffy Forrester Finnegan traveled to the French Riviera seeking a desperate reprieve, a romantic sanctuary away from the suffocating corporate warfare between Forrester Creations and Logan, and more importantly, an escape from the looming, terrifying shadow of Sheila Carter. John Finn Finnegan, her devoted husband, was supposed to be her safe harbor, but Finn committed the ultimate betrayal. When a delusional and obsessive Sheila Carter managed to stalk them all the way to Europe, Finn was forced to confess a horrifying truth. He knew Sheila was on his commercial flight, and he made a secret, desperate pact to hide her presence from his wife. For Steffy, this was not merely a lie of omission, it was a visceral, traumatic trigger. This is the woman who shot her and left her for dead in a filthy alleyway. This is the woman who threatens the very existence of her son, Hayes. When Finn offered a fraction of defense for his biological mother on that Monaco beach, something inside Steffy permanently shattered. The fierce Forrester CEO ripped her wedding ring from her finger, hurled it at the man she once considered her ultimate protector, and fled back to Los Angeles on the first available commercial flight. Alone in the first-class cabin, thousands of miles above the Atlantic, Steffy drowned her agonizing trauma and profound sense of betrayal in a steady stream of bourbon, setting the stage for a disastrous emotional unraveling upon her return to California. Simultaneously, back in Los Angeles, another devastating tragedy was quietly destroying a different marriage. Carter Walton, the loyal, steadfast chief operating officer of Forrester Creations, has spent his entire adult life yearning for one simple, beautiful thing, a family of his own. He has stood at the altar to officiate the weddings of his friends. He has watched the Forresters and Spencers multiply, and he has patiently waited for his turn at fatherhood. He finally believed he had found his happily ever after with Daphne Rose Walton. But fate delivered a cruel and agonizing blow. Dr. Lee Finnegan delivered a severe diagnosis of early menopause and absolute infertility to Daphne, shattering her dreams of motherhood. Consumed by a paralyzing functional depression and an overwhelming sense of inadequacy, Daphne convinced herself that she was an anchor dragging Carter away from his lifelong dream of fatherhood. Despite Carter's desperate, tearful pleas and his steadfast reassurances that she was his entire world, Daphne made the heartbreaking decision to leave him. She packed her bags and fled to Paris, leaving Carter utterly devastated, hollowed out, and drowning in a sea of unimaginable grief. The man who had always been the rock for everyone else was suddenly left entirely untethered, wandering the halls of Forrester Creations like a ghost mourning a life that would never come to pass. It was in this crucible of mirrored devastation that two broken souls collided. A traumatized, heavily intoxicated Steffy Forrester returned to the darkened, silent CEO office at Forrester Creations, seeking a sanctuary from the ruins of her marriage. There, she found an equally shattered, heavily intoxicated Carter Walton. The air in that executive office was thick with the suffocating weight of their respective heartbreaks. They were no longer the powerful CEO and the brilliant Q. They were just a man and a woman bleeding out from the wounds inflicted by the people they loved most. They shared a bottle of premium liquor, pouring out their deepest fears, their profound resentments, and their agonizing loneliness. Steffy vented her desperate, unyielding desire to be permanently free of Sheila Carter's toxic grip and her sheer disgust at Finn's dangerous empathy for a psychopath. Carter poured out his soul about the agonizing injustice of Daphne's departure and the hollow, echoing void of a future without a child. In that dimly lit room, their shared grief transformed into a dangerous, intoxicating vulnerability. Carter, a man inherently driven by a deep-seated rescuer complex, saw a woman in desperate need of a protector. Steffy, feeling entirely abandoned and endangered by her husband, saw a man whose loyalty and devotion were absolute. The emotional intimacy blurred into an overwhelming physical passion. Inhibitions were stripped away by the alcohol and the pain, leading them to cross the ultimate line. In a moment of desperate, fiery connection, Steffy and Carter engaged in a steamy, passionate affair right there in the Forrester CEO office, forever compromising the sanctity of their marriages. When the harsh, unforgiving light of morning pierced through the office blinds, the intoxicating haze of bourbon and passion evaporated, leaving behind a chilling reality. The magnitude of their betrayal crashed down upon them with the force of a tidal wave. Steffy was a married woman, a mother of two, the face of a global fashion empire. Carter was a married man, her most trusted executive, and a pillar of moral integrity in a city built on scandal. Panic set in. They frantically scrambled to piece their professional facades back together, making a desperate, ironclad pact to bury the secret of their physical encounter forever. They vowed to take the memory of that night to their graves, convinced that if the truth ever saw the light of day, it would permanently destroy the Finnegan and Walton families and send Forrester Creations into an apocalyptic tailspin. However, biology is a relentless force that cares nothing for desperate pacts or corporate secrets. As the weeks pass in Los Angeles, the writers are brilliantly utilizing Jacqueline MacInnes Wood's real-life pregnancy glow to orchestrate the ultimate soap opera bombshell. Steffy will begin to experience the undeniable, telltale signs of pregnancy. The morning sickness, the overwhelming fatigue, the sudden emotional volatility symptoms she knows all too well. When she finally takes that fateful pregnancy test and watches the positive result materialize, a wave of sheer, unadulterated panic will wash over her. Steffy will frantically calculate the timeline, desperately hoping against hope that the child belongs to her husband. But the timeline will be brutally, undeniably clear. The baby she is carrying does not belong to John Finnegan. The baby belongs to Carter Walton. The psychological weight of this realization will be staggering. For Steffy, this pregnancy is a ticking time bomb that will obliterate everything she has fought to rebuild. Finn is currently moving heaven and earth to win her back. He has rushed back from Monaco, groveling at her feet, promising absolute loyalty, and vowing to banish Sheila Carter to the darkest corners of the earth. Steffy, consumed by her own crushing guilt over her infidelity, has been trying to accept his apologies, using his desperation as a shield to mask her own monumental betrayal. But how can she possibly hide a growing child? How can she look into the eyes of a man who is fighting for their marriage while carrying the biological evidence of her affair with another man? For Carter Walton, the revelation of this pregnancy will trigger an emotional earthquake of unfathomable proportions. This is the cruelest, most beautiful irony the writers could possibly conjure. Carter has spent his entire life praying for a child. His marriage to Daphne was essentially destroyed because she could not provide him with the family he so desperately craved. And now the universe is finally granting him his ultimate wish, but it is wrapping that miracle in a catastrophic scandal. The child he has always wanted is growing inside the womb of his boss, his best friend, and the wife of another man. The sheer psychological torment of wanting to celebrate the creation of his flesh and blood, while simultaneously knowing that acknowledging this child will destroy Steffy's life and permanently shatter his own marriage to Daphne will push Carter to the absolute brink of his sanity. The impending fallout is guaranteed to be the most explosive television event of the year. We must consider the tragic trajectory of Daphne Rose Walton. Currently in Paris, Daphne is doing the deep, painful emotional work required to heal from her infertility trauma. Spoilers heavily suggest that she will soon realize that running away was a massive mistake. Daphne is going to return to Los Angeles, ready to fight for her husband, ready to explore alternative paths to parenthood like adoption or surrogacy, and ready to reclaim the love she left behind. Imagine the sheer, apocalyptic devastation when Daphne returns, her heart full of hope, only to discover that the husband who swore eternal devotion to her has not only slept with another woman, but has successfully impregnated Steffy Forrester, achieving the one biological miracle Daphne could never give him. The betrayal will be absolute, and Daphne's heartbreak will echo through the halls of Forrester Creations for years to come. And what of John Finnegan? The good doctor is currently walking a tightrope, desperately trying to balance his inherent compassion for his biological mother with his profound love for his traumatized wife. When Finn inevitably discovers that Steffy's sudden pregnancy is the result of a drunken, passionate affair with Carter Walton, his world will shatter into a million irreparable pieces. Finn has forgiven Steffy for her past transgressions. He has stayed by her through the Liam Spencer drama, but this is an entirely different level of betrayal. This is not a lingering feeling for an ex-husband. This is a physical violation of their marriage vows born out of Steffy's utter lack of faith in Finn's ability to protect her. The revelation will likely push Finn over the edge, potentially driving him right back into the manipulative, waiting arms of Sheila Carter, who will undoubtedly use this catastrophic marital failure to finally claim her son for herself. This brings us to the ultimate, burning question that is setting the fandom ablaze. Will there be a wedding for Carter and Steffy? On paper, it seems like sheer madness. They are colleagues, friends, and currently entangled in a messy web of infidelity and deceit. But in the grand, sweeping tradition of the bold and the beautiful, tragedy and scandal are often the fertile soil from which the most legendary super couples grow. When the dust finally settles, when the explosive secrets are laid bare and the respective marriages of Sin and the Waltons burned to the ground, Steffy and Carter will be left standing amidst the ashes, bound together by the undeniable reality of the child they have created. Carter Walton is, in many ways, the exact man Steffy Forrester has always needed but never truly had. He is fiercely loyal, deeply protective, and possesses a moral compass that is not easily swayed by the manipulative tactics of outside forces. Unlike Liam, who constantly vacillated between two women, and unlike Finn, who carries the biological curse of Sheila Carter, Carter Walton is a man of singular devotion. If he commits to Steffy and their unborn child, he will defend them with every fiber of his being. For Steffy, a woman who has spent her entire life fighting to protect her family from external threats, the unwavering, uncomplicated loyalty of a man like Carter could be the ultimate sanctuary she has been desperately searching for. As Steffy's pregnancy progresses mirroring Jacqueline MacInnes Wood's beautiful real-life journey, we can expect to see a profound shift in the dynamic between Steffy and Carter. The initial panic and crushing guilt will slowly transform into a deep, protective bond over their unborn baby. Carter will undoubtedly step up, offering Steffy the emotional support and unconditional love that she has been craving. The Forrester family, initially horrified by the scandalous nature of the affair, will eventually have to rally around the new addition to their dynasty. Ridge Forrester, who relies heavily on Carter's business acumen, will be forced to navigate the incredibly awkward reality of his coup becoming the father of his grandchild. Could we envision a future where the Forrester mansion is adorned in cascading white floral arrangements, with Carter Walton standing at the end of the aisle, waiting for Steffy Forrester to walk toward him? It is a highly plausible and incredibly compelling narrative direction. A wedding between Carter and Steffy would not just be the union of two powerful executives. It would be the culmination of Carter's lifelong, agonizing wait for a family of his own. It would be a testament to the idea that sometimes the greatest miracles are born from our darkest, most desperate mistakes. The writers of The Bold and the Beautiful have been handed a golden opportunity with Jacqueline MacInnes Wood's real-life pregnancy. And by intertwining it with the emotional devastation of the Monaco trip and Daphne's tragic infertility, they are crafting a masterpiece of daytime drama. The impending revelation of Carter's paternity will send shockwaves through Los Angeles, destroying marriages, testing family loyalties, and ultimately asking the characters and the audience what it truly means to forgive, to heal, and to build a family from the ruins of a spectacular scandal. Keep your eyes glued to the screen, because the fallout from this explosive pregnancy storyline is going to be nothing short of legendary.